Margaret Little, and I am in the field of gender and politics. And so I do work around poverty is my particular interest. Yes, I have this one I'm very excited about. It's a 5-year research project where we are looking at Indigenous women's activism, low-income women's activism, racialized women's activism, and immigrant women's activism in Canada, all across Canada, from the 1960s, 70s into the 80s. And so we're doing archival research, looking at what's available in various archives about the activism that happened, but we're also doing qualitative interviews now with activists that we can find to tell about how they did their activism and how different it was from what the mainstream feminists were doing at the same time. Well, I think we know only what mainly white professional women feminists have written about activism in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s in Canada. And we know from, I was around then, I was a student then near the end of that. So we know other activism was going on and we don't know very much about it. So we hope that'll make us understand politics in a bigger way, that we'll understand women's activism, women's politics that happens outside of political parties and legislatures, but very much is changing the lives of marginalized women, that we want to understand what that looks like. Yes, well, this project wouldn't exist without graduate students. We have a postdoc student is a project manager, so she helps coordinate all of it every day. And then we have about 12 research assistants who are all graduate students, some at Queen's, some here in the political studies department, some in the gender studies department, some at University of Victoria, some at University of Alberta. We've got one student in Quebec. So the graduate students have been trained in how to do archival research and have gone into the archives. And they are now recently being trained on how to do interviews. And first of all, they tag along with someone like me and watch me do an interview, and then they do their own interviews. Oh, every time I do an interview, because I've started to do the interviews, I'm just amazed at how these women, many of them were racialized single moms, and how they were low income, and how they were trying to straddle motherhood along with making their lives and the lives of other women around them better. And so I'm amazed all the time when they talk about how, oh yeah, well, we had to do this, and we brought the kids, and the kids were eating in the kitchen, and we were having our meeting in the living room, and and then we went out and so I'm just always amazed by what heroes they are for me about really trying to make positive change for women. Well, I want us to change what we know about women's politics, that I think it's so much broader than what we know, and than what we know about women who are politicians. And so I want people to know about the everyday women that really try and make everyday women's lives much better, and the hard work that they put into making that happen. And I think it'll hopefully change what we understand about the second wave of the women's movement that was much bigger than what has been recorded. So that's what I'd like to see come out of that.